Hi guys, welcome to Crazy Burger. So we're going to be looking at the PS Vita and wondering, is it really worth buying one of these in 2021? Let's find out. So, the PlayStation Vita, it was originally released in 2011, but this is actually the slim version, which was released a few years later, which is supposed to be 20% thinner and 15% lighter, and it does feel quite light. I used to own a PSP, which was obviously sort of the predecessor to this, and this is the box I got off of CEX, and it's in decent enough condition. Now you still can pick one of these up in 2021. But mainly through eBay or Computer Exchange or other sources like that. But the prices range quite a lot compared to what condition the unit's in, and whether it's a fat or a slim, or it's boxed or unboxed, for example. But this one I've actually picked up as the slim version, and it's black, and it comes in different colours. And it's in actually really good condition considering it's second hand. Everything looks fine, there's no scratches or anything on it, there's very little wear and tear on it at all. It looks like it's hardly been used, which is really impressive. And the prices range really from £100 to maybe somewhere in the £200 region, depending if it's boxed or unboxed. You can probably pay a heck of a lot more depending if you want a colour version like a blue one or a different one, but it's difficult to sort of get one of those, especially at a reasonable price. But it's a lovely little machine. It really is, but obviously the question I'm looking at is it really worth getting one of these in 2021? Now the problem is Sony have actually discontinued this a couple of years ago, and they've sort of stopped supporting a lot of the games, and they obviously rumoured they were going to close the store as of 2021. But they sort of went back on that a little bit, and after a bit of backlash, and decided to keep it open, but I believe they are going to stop selling the PSP games in store as of July 2021. So if you're looking at this video and wondering if it's really worth getting one, now stay tuned. What I'm going to look at here is how to actually download games from the store. It's not so easy. I'll look at that later in the video. It's a little tricky and not as straightforward as you might think. But first we're going to look at the actual device. So the specs to the PlayStation Vita, I'll put on the screen. You see it's got a lovely 5-inch screen. So the major probably difference between the slim version of the PS Vita and the original was that the original had an OLED screen, and the Vita slim version has the LCD screen. Now it's difficult to say which one is really better. A lot of people, it's very mixed. A lot of people prefer the original because it's got sort of brighter and more colourful screen, but I think it's just more saturated really than anything else. Whether it's better or not, it's arguable. I've felt that the slim, it's sort of nicer size. It's very, very light. I mean, it really is light, and it fits nice in the hands. And apparently it's easier to be able to sort of add your own firmware because this version actually has its own memory card installed, which makes it a lot easier for sort of adding your own firmware. But we'll come to that in a later video. The purpose of this is just to see what it's like to have this out the box. So looking at the device, you've got sort of the charging facility here. You've got a memory card in here, which if you take it out, it's not very large at all. It's the PS Vita own style memory cards, and this is a 4 gig, which isn't great at all. I mean, if you're downloading games only from the store, I've noticed so far that I can't really download that many at all because the size of that is very small. Now you can actually upgrade to sort of larger sizes, but I don't think the sizes go up that high. You've got like 64 gig, but the prices of sort of Sony's own proprietary memory cards are ridiculous, and it's really not worth sort of bothering doing that. But if you want to download games, you're kind of snookered a little bit, unfortunately. Which is where the sort of firmware comes into it, where you can actually add a memory card in here, and it's sort of in the cartridge slot where the games actually go. You can actually add your own memory card in here, which I'll show you. So you can actually purchase one of these, which sort of fits into the cartridge slot of the device, and you can add a micro SD card to it, and you can then add your own games such as that, but you need to add the custom firmware to be able to run this at all. But this is for a future video, which is probably the reason why I purchased the PS Vita. So really what you want to know is, what are you going to purchase this for? Are you going to use it for your own firmware and add your own games and make it like a retro gaming machine, which is my intention? Or do you really want to be a collector, which is fine as well, or are you purchasing this brand new for the first time? Which, if you are, I'm not really sure it's a great idea, because you're really going to be stuck trying to purchase games. Ideally, you probably want to get some hard copy games, such as this. This is probably one of the original PSP games, which I remember, and I got this version, and it was about £20. Obviously, comes with its own little cartridge that fits in the top, and it works great, but the prices of the games ranges massively. Depending on what one you want, and it's pretty scary. You can get them from eBay, some games are still on Amazon, but prices range crazy. So bear that in mind if you're sort of looking at starting collecting. Downloading from the store isn't so easy, but you still can do it. So if you want sort of hard copies of games, then physical, prices range massively, so bear that in mind if you are purchasing. So the actual device, I mean, the actual thumbsticks, there's two thumbsticks. There's your PlayStation button. Thumbsticks are actually quite small, but they're functional, they're fine, they work really well. D-pad's absolutely fine, and the buttons are fine. But yeah, when you look at them, they are very, very small, but they are fine, and there's no problem at all. You've got your start and select button here as well. You've got dual speakers either side. And the sound on this is absolutely incredible. That's one thing that I've noticed, that the sound is fantastic. So again, at the top, you've got your power button here. You've got your volume buttons right here. And you've got sort of shoulder buttons too. And everything feels fantastic. This is a top quality handheld. Now, this is probably the best quality handheld I've probably purchased in the last few years for sure. On the back, there's actually a sensor which is utilised in some games, and there's sort of indentations to sort of put your thumbs in to grip as well. There's also a camera. I think, is it front and back camera? Yeah, there's a camera, a rear camera and a front camera, which is pretty cool. I'm not sure what the functions are and if there's any need for them now, but overall, fantastic. And you've got your headphone socket as well. You know, the only thing that I find with the device, which I find problematic, is trying to keep this screen clear. I mean, it is touchscreen, so we're going to expect it's going to get a lot of finger marks on it, which is expected, but it is impossible to keep it clean. I don't know whether you can see, but you can. It gets very, very greasy and dirty. I suppose just to expect. It's just like really having a phone, basically. It's going to get dirty and it will need cleaned every now and again. But that's the only downfall I could really see. Now, actually turning on the device and trying to play games, let's have a look at that. Okay, when you turn on the device for the first time, you need to go through the setup malarkey, and hopefully if you've already got a Sony account, then it's just a matter of putting in your account details, which is fairly straightforward. I've had an account for a while on the PlayStation 4, and it works fine. So one of the reasons, I guess, that Sony pushed this device was to be compatible with the PlayStation 3 initially, and the PlayStation 4, and it's what really, if you can see, play PS4 games on the PS Vita. Now this is what they initially pushed the machine for, and the purpose of it, which I don't think it was a great marketing ploy, to be honest, because I kind of think, why do I bother? I've got a PlayStation 4, I don't need to play this. I'm not really that interested in playing these games on the go. But yeah, that was one of their market ploy, which might have been one of the big mistakes where they probably missed out a lot of casual gamers sort of picking up this as a handheld device on its own. So this is the sort of main screen you see, and yeah, there's lots and lots of options here. You get parental controls, party options, and go in the browser. PlayStation Store, there's a welcome part that goes through different settings, and you've got your PS4 link, which you can actually link up to your PS4 and play PlayStation 4 games, which I guess is really good. And still works quite fine. You've got your trophies, which will carry over from your system. You've got various options, video. You've even got the PS3 remote link option here. You've got content manager, you can sort of mess about with your content. You can see this is probably a problem, that there's really difficult to manage your stories really well. I mean, there's only got 4 gig and it's already filled up, and I don't really have a heck of a lot on here at all, which is a problem. So that's definitely another thing to be wary of if you're buying this. The storage facility is really, really poor out of the box. You really need to upgrade the firmware to be able to add sort of further content using the micro SD card. There's other settings as well, nothing particularly amazing that's worthwhile looking at. System updates, PlayStation Network, you can add your information, system update information, which is quite important. You need to obviously know the system update and what version you're actually on if you're going to be doing the firmware. So that's, I think it's in here, is it system information? Yep. So tell you you're on 3.73. If you're doing the firmware option, you need to be on a certain sort of option here to be able to do the firmware update, which is fine. We'll cover that later on, probably in another video. So going back to main screen, just click the PlayStation button, or you want to close the device, you just sort of slice it down like that. So if it keeps scrolling down, you can actually go to the games. So what I've got here, Foxyland was a PlayStation 4 game which I've downloaded from my content. Start of the games here, Wipeout and Quell, are actual PS Vita games. God of War is a PSP game, which we'll show. Tekken and Ridge Racer are a PS1 game, as is Speedball 2. And we've got Luminous, which is the cartridge game, which we'll have a look at now. So this game is running off the cartridge which is installed. Now another thing you want to stay out of the box, you can't like broadcast this to a TV. You see I'm sort of using the camera, hello, to sort of capture the footage. But if you download the firmware option, so if you download the firmware option, you can actually, I think there's an option to be able to broadcast the footage. You can say, well, I'll turn the sound up a little bit so you can actually hear the quality of the sound. I've turned it down for the video purposes, but the sound quality is absolutely fantastic. So you can touch screen to start or push the start button. So generally click start. So this it's really like a puzzle game in the style of Tetris and columns. We just try to create blocks of 4. And it's a great pick up and play game, just for sort of a few moments of time, and it's very simple and it's great fun to play. It sounds fantastic as well, quite relaxing. But I'm not particularly amazing at it, but I still quite enjoy playing it. It's got that great beat to it, and this was the original sort of PSP game, which was absolutely fantastic, and this is really just in a slightly upgraded version of that. But yeah, if you want to quit games, you really just press the PlayStation button and it jumps straight back out. And there's other games here, but what I'm going to do before I look at some of the other games, I'm going to show you how the PlayStation Store as it stands right now and how to download games from it. So there's not an awful lot. I don't know whether some games have actually been removed. So to be able to access this, you need to make sure you've got your account set up. Now that part is easy enough. If you've already got an account, fine, you just put your details in. If you don't, then create one. But you can see the options are quite limited. I don't really think the store's been updated much in the last sort of few years by the looks of it. I think there was a game at late 2020 that was added. But you've got the option of, I guess you tap latest. I think Astro Kitty was the most recent one. In fact, to tell you, Astro Kitty was updated in April 2021. Astro Aqua Kitty, and it looks quite a cool game. And it's only $9.99, so it's a decent enough price. But yeah, if you want to actually purchase something and you click buy now, I had issues trying to actually purchase something even though my account details were already there. Now, something that's quite important, that you need to make sure you've got two-way authentication set up. I'm going to show you how to do that on the app on my phone. So you need to download the PS app, the PlayStation app, on your phone. It's probably easier doing this one to sort of update your account details. If you click that one, To enable two-way authentication, click your sort of logo, edit profile. This actually takes you to the Sony account. You want to actually put in your password details. So if you go in here, you go up to settings up in the menu here and go to, where are we? Security. This will take you to another page. And scroll down till you see two-step verification. And this is in here. So if you don't have this set up, you need to make sure this is active before you set an account. The initial, when you're logging into the store, is you'll probably have to have this active and then device setup password. And when you're logging into the PS Vita, you need to generate a new password for your Vita, and it will send you that. In the initial login, you need to use this password to be able to log in. Then you should be able to use your usual password. Straightforward enough, but to actually purchase things, there's another step you need to do to be able to make that work as well, which we'll go back to the PS Vita and show you that. So when you're trying to actually purchase something and you click buy now, you'll be asked for the sort of login password details. And no matter what you do here, if you get a credit card set up or what, it'll just keep rebooting through this screen if you've got the password set up to override. What you really need to do to be able to purchase stuff, you need to go to settings. If you go to transaction management, security. Okay, so this part is very, very important. Require password at checkout. You need to make sure this is ticked off so that it can basically override and not ask for a password and you can purchase things. But you still, I found it different, you still can't use your credit card details or Visa details, whatever it is that's down there. The only way sort of doing that is to add in funds, which I done. I sort of bought some PSN credit through Amazon, added the sort of details. So if you sort of add funds, you can't, I don't think you can actually do it here, but you can redeem your codes from the sort of card you get from Amazon, put it in here and it will add to your account. And then you can then buy games make sure the password is off, and you can do that. Otherwise it's just going to keep looping. You can't buy things with your credit card. You can only really do it using funds, and you need to make sure your password is set off as well. So there's a few things which I'm not sure if it's always been like that, but I guess it's been like that for the last couple of years going by. Details that's in the forums, etc., which is a total pain. But I did eventually manage to purchase things. You can, like say, you can get into your download list if you've got your details, and you can sort of download games that are already on your account, which I've tried to do. I've got some of the PlayStation 4 games here which you can download, which is quite cool, I guess, and that works. But again, you are limited to the size of the games here. But they say there's a lot of good games still in the store. Most of the games are quite old. There is obviously some games from last year, one or two from this year, but the support is definitely dwindling for the sort of PS Vita, which is a bit of a shame. But there's still a lot of excellent games here. You can still download from the store. So main options here, you've got PS Vita games. Okay, you can just browse through whatever's in the store. I'm not sure everything's here, where a few things have been sort of removed. And some of the games are still quite pricey, and some are quite cheap, and there's different sort of options here. You've got add-ons, PS Vita demos, which you can download, themes, and you still have PSP games here, which you can still download. And I've downloaded a couple of games so far, and they're reasonably priced. And this is probably still the best place to actually play PSP games. There's a lot of handheld devices, retro devices, that are capable of playing some of these games, but I don't think they do them justice at all. This is probably still the best place to actually play them, and I'm pretty sure that the ability to download these games from this store is going to disappear very soon. You can also download PS1 games, so just a selection of some classic PlayStation games. As you can see, I don't think that the quality is amazing in some of these PlayStation games, which you'll see shortly. What else have we got? Got some minis. It's just small sort of games, cheap games, apps, PlayStation Arcade, and that's it. So let's have a look at some of the other games still on the system. And as functioning, it looks absolutely fantastic. I'm still sort of figuring my way around it. So, download, let's have a look at Foxyland, which is actually a PlayStation 4 game. With download, it's obviously not going to push the machine too hard. But it's quite a cool game. This game's probably been on a lot of different devices like Mega Drive, PlayStation, and it's coming on the EverCade and the Heroes cart as well, which is really cool. It's quite a good little game. It's a sort of a platform puzzler game. You see, sounds fantastic. Looks really nice too. I don't think the sort of video really does it great justice, unfortunately. Let's jump a level. You can use the D-pad or you can use the analog stick. Both work absolutely fine. The purpose of this is to collect all the cherries and then get to the exit. Oh. Ah. Oh darn. Oh no, it's to collect all the gems, not the cherries. That's just for extra store, so it's all the gems you need to collect to activate the sort of exit. Quite an addictive little game, gets quite tough, but it's good fun. It's only got about 15 or 16 levels. But yeah, so this is downloaded from PlayStation 4 and it works great. You can also connect to your PS4 and play other games too. So that's that. Let's close that down. We've got Wipeout now. This one looks fantastic. I've played many versions of Wipeout and every one I've absolutely loved. Yeah, it's touchscreen. Unlocked a new step. This one is just a time trial, but we'll have a go. One of the things I noticed about this sort of game was I expected maybe X to be the acceleration, but the acceleration is actually the right sort of shoulder button here, and you control only via the analog stick. Definitely something I noticed about here is loading the game. It takes a little while to actually load this game. And it looks fantastic, this game. It sounds amazing. And this is one of these where I would definitely want a PS Vita to play this absolutely brilliant game. Especially on the go, maybe you're on holiday or on the train or whatever. Very handy. I guess that's what a lot of people buy these handhelds for. But you see, it looks fantastic, plays amazingly well. And Wipeout's always going to be one of my favourite Sony PlayStation games of all time for sure. One of the reasons I actually bought a PlayStation in the first place, way back in, oh god, 97? It's one of the sort of longer sort of stages. I wouldn't say I was amazing at Wipeout, but I enjoy playing it, that's the main thing. Anyway, that's enough of that. I could play that all day. So let's have a look at, I think we'll have a look at God of War. So guys, a quick comparison of different devices. So these are a few different devices that I've purchased recently. We've got the EverCade, the Retro Pocket 2, the Odroid Go Super, and the Ambernic RG351P. The size wise, you can look at that. If you look at it, it's actually the same size as an EverCade, but the PSP actually has a larger screen and it has a better quality screen too. And it's just to sort of give you a size off, the Odroid Go Super is probably slightly larger. If you look at the sort of size of that, roughly similar. The Odroid Go Super has exactly the same screen size, even though it looks larger, but it's probably about the same size. It's a 5-inch screen. And all these devices offer something completely different. Now the PS Vita, I plan to try and add more firmware to play retro games and sort of games of my choice, and not being restricted with the memory as well of the machine. But yeah, what I'm going to do here is probably try God of War, and I'm going to compare it playing on this PS Vita. It's a PSP game obviously, and I'm going to show you how it runs on the Odroid Go Super, which isn't great, and it makes a good comparison to why you maybe want to purchase a PS Vita to play PSP games. So this is the Odroid Go Super running PSP God of War Chains of Olympus. Now, very mixed results on the Odroid Go Super, as well as a lot of other handheld devices. As you can see, or probably hear, it looks absolutely fine, but there's a lot of cut up with the music and it really struggles. Let's turn the sound down slightly. Now, it looks absolutely fine, no problem at all. The PSP sort of screen size is perfect for this device. However, as you probably see, it really struggles with the frame rate in the sort of game. Honestly, this Odroid Go Super is not touchscreen, so immediately you're already down. You can't play some games, I guess, due to that fact. You can hear, generally you'll hear the difference in the sound. You can hear that it's really struggling to play it. Frame rate's all over the place, it is really struggling. Again, the graphics absolutely fine, right? You see the frame rate and it's choppy, it's slow, it's pathetic. It does actually play some PSP games, this device, but trying to play this is practically impossible. It's unplayable basically. There's no way you can actually sit and play this game like this, it's impossible. You could probably mess about the settings trying to get it right, but let's have a look at it running the PS Vita where it really shines. So here it is on the PlayStation Vita, same game. Looks absolutely fantastic as well. Maybe the screen's not quite as sharp as the Odroid Go Super, but frame rate is perfect, absolutely no problems. And let's have a look at the actual game. You can see absolutely no problems with the frame rate now. It's running absolutely perfectly. And I guess, guys, this is probably about your only option if you want to play PSP games. And this is one of the best options you're going to find out there. Right now, obviously, you need to download them from the store, but I don't think they're going to be available for a heck of a lot longer on the sort of PlayStation Store. You can see, absolutely perfectly run. It looks fantastic. No problems with the frame rate. So a lot of people are sort of messing about with trying to get PSP to run on different various devices, and it's hit and miss really. Some are better than others, but I haven't seen many devices play this game very well at all, and it just struggles. But you can see this game, it's absolutely fluid, it's perfect, and it's a great, fun game to play as well. So guys, let's have a look at some of the other games. So you can actually play PlayStation 1 games. And let's have a look at Tekken. This is the original Tekken, which was available in the store to download. I guess if you want to sort of download your own games, you're going to have to use your own firmware to be able to do this, because you're really limited to what you can do here. You see, it's really just running an emulator. You need to use the D-pad. So this is the sort of Galaga before you actually start the main game, but we can just quietly jump that. Go straight to Tekken. Now this is the original Tekken, which probably wasn't the best version at all, by a long way. Tekken 3 is probably the one that everybody sort of wants to play. It's sort of the fine-tuned to be one of the better PlayStation 1 fighting games. Whereas the original Tekken, I think it was probably like a launch title for the PlayStation, and it was a little bit slow, especially the PAL version, if I recall, was not the one that you wanted. But at the time, there wasn't an awful lot of fighters like this at the time, so for most people this was still pretty cool, but it does play exceptionally slow, as you can see. And this isn't a problem with the actual PS Vita, this is how the game actually played. And it does make it very, very tricky. You can see it's so slow, the sort of reaction times to the characters, but again, not a PS Vita problem, this was the original PlayStation, and that's how it ran. Tekken 3 is probably the one that everyone remembers as being the better one. So let's have a look at, we've also got Ridge Racer Type 4, which is fine. Interestingly, you can change the options to sort of stretch the screen out if you so want. There is that there, but I think it just stretches it out and makes it look unnatural. You see, it looks fine. It's not spectacular by any means, but it looks absolutely fine. Again, you're using the D-pad. I'm not really sure if this was the best version of Ridge Racer or what, but it's still Ridge Racer. I think I've seen other versions, sort of the Ridge Racer versions running on emulators, and it just doesn't play well, like PSP Ridge Racer, and it's just hopeless. You see, it sounds fantastic. Oh, so there's no problem with the sort of graphics, everything's fine, frame rate's absolutely fine. Me playing it, probably not so fine. It's a tough game to get right. It's all about sort of getting those drift nails. If you don't sort of nail it right, you're just going backwards. Look at the other competitors just deliberately get in your way. I think a bit of practice is probably needed in this game, for sure. Anyway, that's Ridge Racer, it runs absolutely fine, and that's a PlayStation game. Oop, didn't go back to the main screen there. So what we've got a Speedball 2, which is, I think it's a PlayStation Vita game or a PSP, I can't remember which version this is. Which kind of surprised me, I didn't know there was a version of this game available on the PS Vita. And it's actually a really, really good version. It's pleasantly surprised me. It reminds me of this, it's been based on the Amiga CD32 version. So what we'll do is do a quick match. See, it sounds like an Amiga running in the background. Probably the intention. It's like a slightly upgraded version of Speedball 2. You look at the graphics are very much like the Amiga CD32 version. And it plays exceptionally well too. It kind of surprised me, to be honest. This is also coming to the Evercade very soon in the Bitmap Brothers collection. But it's the Mega Drive version we are getting, which is, I think, a little bit disappointing. There's nothing massively wrong with it. But the best versions are definitely Amiga versions. By a long way. Ice cream. Yeah, that's definitely quite impressed me. I'll be quite happily playing this game on the go. So our last game I'm going to look at Quell Memento. So this is another sort of puzzle style game, which is on the PS Vita, which you can download on your phone as well. But this utilises touchscreen a lot more than the other games do. So this is one of these sort of addictive little games, which I've played in many different sort of... Usually it's in the phone I've actually played this game, but obviously being touchscreen, this works perfectly well on here. And it's a fantastic little puzzler, which I've enjoyed, and it is quite relaxing to actually play. You sort of need to try and light up all the squares to sort of make progress through the level. Which is a great little game. Definitely highly recommend it if you want a sort of relaxing puzzling style game. So guys, that's pretty much it. The PlayStation Vita, and it's really up to you whether you think it's worth getting one in 2021, and it obviously depends on what your purpose is with this machine. If you're just purchasing it to play PS Vita games, then it's probably not worth it. It's going to be difficult to download games, and the price of the games, especially physical versions in the shops, are absolutely ridiculous, and it varies massively. For me, I've bought it really because I want to try and add my own firmware and sort of try and make some sort of retro machine out of this, and still playing PS Vita, PSP games on it, and maybe PlayStation games and other games such as Dreamcast and whatnot. But we'll see how it works. I'm going to do that in a later video. But it's such a lovely little machine. It looks fantastic. It's just a pity sort of Sony stopped supporting it really, but if you can pick up one at a decent price, it's definitely worth getting one if you're going to use it for more reasons other than PS Vita. The price of it is rocking up, so as a collector's item, it's probably quite wise to get one soon as before it gets even more expensive. But yeah, it's such a high quality device. It looks fantastic. I'm looking forward to actually discovering more on what it's actually capable of. So guys, thanks for watching the video. Please like, subscribe, and we'll catch you again next time. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.